Those who have it can say amen. If you're ready to read, say bless the word. I'm going to read from the New Living Translation version of the scripture. Bible says, you use the lovely things I gave you to make shrines for idols, where you played the prostitute. Unbelievable. How could such a thing ever happen? You took the very jewels and gold and silver ornaments I had given you. You didn't earn it, I gave it to you.
Well,
and made statues of men and worshiped them. This is adultery against me, saith the Most High. You used the beautiful embroidered clothes, your Gucci, your Louis, your Tommy Hilfiger. I don't know why y'all still wearing that. Polo, Timberland, whatever else y'all got that I can't afford. Anyway, then you use my special oil, and my incense to worship it. Y'all remember that bacon fat grease that sat on? You done that? Yeah. Throw away the grease. Don't you waste the grease. Some of us gonna throw away the good grease. We use the grease for the wrong reason. Imagine it. He says, you set before them as a sacrifice the choice flour. Y'all know the choice flour? That's that expensive, not the cheap stuff. You gave them the best, and I gave it to you first. Okay. He says, you set it before them, the olive oil, the honey I had given you, says the sovereign Lord. Then you took your sons, here's the worst part, sons and daughters, the children you had born to me, and sacrificed them to your gods. Was your prostitution, wasn't it enough? Must you also slaughter, look at what he says, my children by sacrificing them to idols? You may be seated. This morning I want to talk to members, of the church. First and foremost, I'm talking to you. This morning, my goal is not to only have preached and taught to myself and been going over this for weeks to myself, but now I'm ready to bring it out as God has given me. I'm ready to bring this out to increase God's people. Many times we come in here on Sunday, we're ready to hear an evangelistic message because that's what we've been programmed to hear. But many times some of us are on the way out the door, and every now and then you got to keep a fish from jumping out the boat.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you what happens is we get weak. And most times we get weak because we don't know who we are. Well, I'm going to tell you who you are, but I don't know if you have enough courage to receive it. Because when I show you who you are, you're going to be scared for a different reason, because you're going to realize how powerful you are. And when you realize that, it might get scared, but if you embrace it and recognize you're not powerful just because you're powerful because the Most High put something in you that came from Him that is powerful, and when you use it, this is why nothing you set out to do with the power of the Most High behind you can be impossible. Before I get into the introduction even, I was explaining this also to my son earlier. I was talking about, you gotta look at what's invented. You know what? If you would have mentioned a car 200 years ago, somebody would have told you it's impossible. If you would have mentioned a beeper, impossible. Cell phone, impossible. And what are you looking at today? You're looking at things that were once considered impossible, but somebody took enough time to believe, thought about it, brought it out. What is that? There's a gift. There's a gift that God put in everybody. The problem is we don't all know what our gift is. I'm trying to help us with that. But there's a gift. And the other thing I'm going to tell you as we go through this lesson is that God does not take the gift even if you misuse it. Even if you misuse it, he don't take it. But you should be using the gift for the upbuilding of his kingdom. And when I say kingdom, I'm not talking about some inanimate object. I'm talking about us. And if, because I'm still settling this in my heart, if preaching is my gift, then why shouldn't I be using it to upbuild the kingdom, which is you? My words and the meditation of my heart need to be according to the Most High, because if they are, it's going to resonate with you anyway. You know why? Because you weren't made simply from an accident. It took an infinite conscience to form you, intelligence beyond our wildest imagination, and you're here. Know who you are and whose you are.
All right.
What happened to these individuals? In the text, he speaks of Jerusalem, but it is the people that are inhabiting Jerusalem that he's really focusing on. The people inhabiting Jerusalem at this time, God's people. You, today, are God's people. He says God's people that have caused a reputation of the city to be so wild. You know how it is when it's not necessarily the geographical location that's bad, but it's who lives there.
All right.
Don't act like y'all know. We say Duval. Yeah, we live in Duval. We proud of Duval. But if we talk amongst ourselves, we'd be like, well, I don't go to that part.
Well,
why you don't go to that part? It's not the geographical area. It's not that the grass ain't green enough or whatever it is. I don't want to get jacked. I don't go over there. And what it is, it's not necessarily the city, but it's the people. It's not necessarily the church. It's the people.
come on.
That didn't feel good. Don't worry, I got you. Just stay with me. So what happens is the people have a way of causing an area to be considered bad, but if the people would increase and the people would know who they are and the people would get better, then folk wouldn't have issue visiting that area. People won't have a problem coming to church. Because one thing about people, we don't like to go where people hurt people.
All right now.
We like to go where people enrich people. We want to feel more powerful when I leave you rather than drained. We want to gain something. And all the time that don't come from you hearing what you want to hear. And you're going to be the best you. You got to be broken all the way down to the very point where you feel like you're going to break, and then you push through the breaking point. Let me give you a practical example for all of the military people. You know you only got better at your push-ups, at your working out, because you went to muscle failure. The way you know that you're getting better at anything is that you bring that muscle to failure. Failure is that point where you mentally you want to go, but that muscle won't let you. You in the front lean and rest, and them arms start to shake, your whole body start to shake, because you already been down there 3 minutes, you already done did 65 in a row, and you just shaking because the muscle has failed. It won't let you go. But up here, you ready. You mentally ready. I'm here today to show you, when you realize that, and you hit the brick wall out here, just know the brick wall is never hit on a freed mind.
All right.
What do you mean, Taylor? Jesus said, you will know the truth, and it'll set you free. I'm here today to show you that your roadblock when you employ the gifts of God is not a roadblock at all. It may be a detour, but we still marching to Zion. But what happened to them? Well, they had all this stuff. They had gold. They had all these gifts and the finest. See, God blessed it, but they didn't reinvest it. They don't reinvest in themselves. See, God blessed it, but they misused it. God can bless you, but do you appreciate it? God blessed it, but they ignored it. That's what we do with our gifts. We ignore it. God blessed it, but sometimes we neglect it. You know it's there, and you still don't pay it no attention. God can bless it, but they seem not to understand what they have. I didn't say had, even though they're past tense. What they have. You need to know what you have. This can change your life. They had gifts. If God gives you a gift, he puts you in control of that gift. Watch this. Samson had a gift.
Yes.
But Samson, even in his foolishness and using the gift, God never took the gift. It was only when he gave the secret of the gift that the gift was taken. He should have never been playing around, playing them games just to flex his muscles and show his strength that God had gave him. But he was misusing his gift. Notice God still didn't take it then.
Right.
As a matter of fact, if you read the whole story, you're going to find out even after his strength left, he talked to God and said, give me that strength one more time. And he killed more people then, and he took himself, than he had while he was alive. I often wondered about that story when it comes to fighting for God and, losing your life in the process, that God gave it to him. Ponder that. Then Samson was in control. Watch what Paul said in 1 Corinthians 14 and 32. He says this, the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. He was talking about when they were speaking in tongues and they were doing all these gifts and prophecies, they weren't doing it to edify the Most High. They were doing it to show off what they could do. Well, notice God still didn't snatch the gift of tongues from them, he didn't take it. He encouraged them on what it was that you had and how you should use it. Some of us, we using our gift, our skills, our ability. I've highlighted our singing leaders. Perhaps they could be doing something else with the talent. But they would not be using the gift that the Most High gave them to increase his people so we can be a force. When we start seeing each other as individuals, you're weak. But if we come in here on one accord and together and start using those gifts and paint a beautiful symphony of music that puts us on a harmony where we all march into the same beat, nobody can stop that. Because the power is not of us, it's otherworldly. You're saying, Taylor, you sound spooky right now. Follow me. Proverbs 18 and 16, the Bible says this. A man's gift maketh room for him, and bringeth him before great men. I simply use that text to demonstrate, show you biblically, God is the gift giver. So how much sense would it make to know what your gift is and not use it to appreciate the gift giver? God gave you something to use, and he didn't give it to you idly to hoard to yourself, to use for yourself, to be selfish with. He gave you the gift to bring it out here to the world and help everybody with it and draw them back to the Most High. How many of you know what your gift is? How many of you know why you're here? I ain't talking about simply to save souls. Guess what? That's a general purpose. We all got that. I'm talking about you as a person. What is your gift? Because your gift may not be the one you want. You may be coveting a gift, and you are missing the blessing that's in yourself. If all I focused on was something I couldn't do or could only become mediocre at, let's say singing, for instance, then I would have neglected my gift of preaching, even though it's not where I want it. I wouldn't even be where I'm at if I had focused my energy in a place that wasn't my gift. Is that making sense? What I'm saying? You have to get you some focus. Lord, when I'm talking about that next week, let me give you a preview of coming attractions. Jesus said, if your eye be single, focus. Know your gift and focus that energy in that place. Now watch this. The world benefits while the community suffers when it comes to believers and their gifts. I can't even imagine what all is out here in terms of knowledge, skill, know-how, what you all may be able to do. But I do know somebody getting that up off you. Maybe it's your job getting that up off you. They're getting that gift. They're getting that gift of organization that you got. That beautiful smile that you got that invites people, that demeanor, that persona that you have, that when people come in contact with you is magnetic, and they go ahead and smile even though they don't feel like it. You may not know it, but that's your gift. And gifts often go unrecognized, because watch this. This is a clue to the last point. What is it that you do well that you ain't even trying to do?
Well,
you do it so well, you ain't trying to do it. It works, and you miss that as your gift, because it's just natural for you to do. You ain't trying to bless, but when you use what the Most High put in you, you can't help but be a blessing. You go see the sick person and you wonder why you feel blessed when you got out of there. Because they're exercising a degree or the gift that is in them. So that's why they can be sick, you can be well, you can leave there feeling well, and they be physically sick, but feel good, because we ain't talking about physical energy here. Energy. Some of us miss that word. My job is to show you scientifically and spiritually. What you saying, Taylor? I'm going to show you that the Most High put laws in place. And if you obey these laws and follow these laws and use your gift in these laws, you will have no choice but to be successful for the Most High, what you set out to do. Because by using the gift, the Most High already recognizes that's what you need. That's what his house needs, his kingdom needs to go forward. If we lean on one gift to help us here, we will never achieve our full potential. If all we depend on is preaching, we won't get there. If all we depend on is singing, we won't get there. If all we depend on is you simply telling the next person about Christ, guess what? We won't even get there. It's when we do it all together that the full potential is realized. Don't get me wrong, we'll catch a few fish. But I ain't talking about catching a few fish. I'm talking about casting your net on the right side.
All right.
So the net gets so big that it breaks. And watch this. When you do that, you're going to have to call for help. Because the text said he had to call to his friends.
Get it up. Yes.
Want to help with fellowship?
that's right.
Start doing something. Put a dent in society, and other folk will take note. And we can get it moving. Now watch this. Now here it is. Here's the meat of the lesson. How do you fix this? Get from me John 8:32. How do you fix this? How do you know? How do you understand what is in you? I don't want to misuse my gift. I want to use my gift. I don't want to throw it away. I don't want to waste it. But what is my gift? And some of us, you understand your gift or your talent, but you're not comfortable using it. You know why? Because we have made something true that ain't true. Yeah, you can make something true that ain't true, at least in your mind.
Yeah.
I think it was Hitler. Don't just tell a lie. Make it big.
Wow. Yeah.
And don't just say it one time. Say it over and over. Yeah. And over, regardless of the facts. Go ahead and call it fake, false. It's true as I don't know what, but call it that. And if you do that, then that's what you're going to get. But Jesus said this, and it's so important, and we only apply it in one way, but it is true in everything you set out to do. It's true in business that, well, let's go ahead and read it.
And you shall know the truth.
You shall know what?
The truth.
You're going to know the truth. You know what truth is, y'all? Truth is the highest form. Listen to what I'm finna say. Listen close, and don't walk out of here saying something I didn't say. Truth is the highest form of religion. Things you do over and over and over and over and over and over, we say we do them religiously. You can do the wrong thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and it will never increase you because it's the wrong thing over and over and over and over. Get the truth.
Amen.
When you get the truth, it's solid. The word truth in the Greek comes from the word aletheia, which means it stands on its own. It don't need no help. It's not worried about what you say, how you feel, what it is. It's not trying to be mean. It's just, watch this, truth is Just what it is. That's it. That's all it is. And some people can't stomach the truth. So when you embody the truth, yeah, expect for some people not to be able to stomach.
All right.
You know why? What we call that in science, what we call that is a vibe. We call that energy. You know what we call it in the church? Spirit. That's what it is. Science call it energy. It's spirit.
Yes, yes.
You don't see it, but you feel it.
Yes, yes.
You don't smell it, but you know it's there. The spirit goes like the wind, but it surely exists. He said you're going to know the truth, and the truth is what's going to make you free. We are chained up in other philosophies and thoughts and habits and paradigms of people. That's coming on next week. We so caught up in that we can think we free, not really be free. You are caught up. What really has to be free is not your physical, but your mind. Your understanding of the truth. So watch. Here is something very, very important. Give for me Genesis 1:26. There's a reason I'm trying to get you to understand how enormously powerful you are. I ain't talking to nobody but you. I know it's 100 and some people in here, but I'm talking to you.
All right. All right.
You.
Come on.
You need to know the truth about what? You.
Amen.
Somebody has lied to you, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and it's caused us to misuse or not use our gifts at all. You know why? Because let's go to finance. We have always said, and I still say it, and we need to stop saying this because your mind can figure out how to do it. Stop saying what you can't afford.
All right.
Start asking yourself how. That's a whole different work for your mind. You know why? Because when you ask, listen to me close, don't tune out. Watch this, just listen. When you ask God how, God will give you.
Yes, he will now.
Y'all stay with me. Stay with me. I'm going to show you how you make sure you accessing Most High. Genesis 1:26. Let's get a little bit of that.
And God said,
God. Now, first of all, this is Elohim. This is what most people call the plurality of God. There's alternative meanings, but I just need to know you to know that just in case you go back for study. It's not my topic this morning, but you need to know that. Read.
let us make man.
Make man, humankind, humans, man and woman is in this. Read.
In our image.
Okay, God, you're going to form them, make them in your image. The word image here has to do with you being in the semblance of whatever it is that is creating you. So already in understanding the Elohim and the plurality, if you understand or agree that the plurality is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, here's what you have to understand. The semblance is already in you. Body, soul, spirit. 3. In what? 1. In who? You. Made in what image? God. Let's read.
After our likeness.
After whose likeness?
Our likeness.
Image, likeness. You gonna be like these 3. Read.
And let them
Have
dominion over the fish of the sea.
Now, not my lesson, but the thing is, when you understand who you are, the threefold being that you are, and you acknowledge that, it's not you being arrogant, you are simply glorifying the manufacturer.
All right.
What you saying? The better you understand you, the better you understand the maker. And when you understand you and the maker, that y'all are one, now you can ask God some questions and get some answers. Oh man. Oh man. He says that they will have dominion over the very earth. Where you at? See, God, before the foundation of the world, family, had a thought. He had a thought in a space of consciousness where outside such space, time, matter, and space itself didn't exist. But he thought of it. God had a plan. Everybody say, I need a plan.
I need a plan.
Okay, you need a plan. And when you get this plan, you're going to work this plan. The devil going to deceive you.
All right
He's
now.
going to tell you your plan ain't working.
All right.
No, the plan works if the plan comes from the image of the Most High. Because watch what God did. I'm going to say this early because I need it right here. Watch this. God said, I need a plan. I'm going to form a man in my image. Then I'm going to lay the foundation of the world. But before I lay the foundation of the world, there's going to be this problem. So I got them in mind. I'm going to make them in my image. But I'm going to put a solution to the problem that's coming because when I work a plan, I think it out. I think about it. I plan it out. And when I'm not following it, I have voices in my head telling me I can do better.
All right.
What you saying, Taylor? I'm saying that the enemy is lying to you, telling you what you can't do, and we've been told that socially and spiritually. That's killing us on the outside bodily level. It's killing us on a soul level, your personality level, your self-image of yourself. But don't you let it get the spirit, because I'm going to speak to your spirit, because this is where the Most High dwells. God says, I ain't going to go there, I was going to read it, but God says, no, you're not, that your bodies are the temple. Y'all know what temples are?
Yeah.
Temples are where they worship and also where the deity in ancient times lived.
All right.
You want to know where God at?
All right now.
Come on.
Y'all, I have to have courage to say what I'm saying. Because I have not heard this. Because let me tell you what the enemy does. The enemy whispers to you.
Right.
Amen.
You ain't never heard this before. I don't think what he's saying is true. Because you ain't never heard this before.
All right.
But what the enemy won't tell you is that learning takes place when you hear something you ain't.
All right.
So if you heard this before, you ain't learning nothing. But if you ain't, and you start making connections with things you haven't heard, and you see how it works and it makes sense. Because what I just told you is simply stop looking outside of yourself for what you can do for yourself. Because the answers are already in you when it comes to these things out here. You say, well, no, it ain't. I say, well, yes, it is. Well, no, it ain't. Well, prove it. What you sitting on?
Come on now.
Come on.
Do you not know in Jesus' day, chairs for common people, one thing. You have one main chair. That's the throne. And that wasn't just a chair. Everybody could sit in that. But we sitting in a chair.
Well, come on.
That chair didn't exist.
Come on.
Where did it come from? Well, I read in Genesis that earth didn't exist. Spoken.
Come on now.
Well,
Plants didn't exist.
Well.
We didn't exist. Formed from the dust and breathed into us the breath of life. God deposited himself in the human being. So now watch what we do. We take from here what exists and is real right here. It don't have to be real out here. Watch this. If you go back far enough, nothing out here is even existed except for what the Most High put here. Go back far enough. Go back before Adam. There's stuff here, but there's nothing else other than what the Most High put here.
Well,
we got everything else by utilizing the creative force that came from where?
All right now.
So why are you looking outside yourself for the answer to a problem that manifests itself in the physical world? Why are you looking outside of yourself to somebody else? You say, well, no, I'm praying to God. Well, listen. See, you don't need God, okay, to go and be nice to somebody, okay? Because most of us already understand how to treat it. We know that. That's where I want to be right there. We know what to do. Why we don't do it?
Come on now. Amen.
I already said this before. Listen, how many of y'all know what it takes to lose weight?
Yeah, come on now.
How many of y'all still trying to lose weight? Do you not know what it takes?
Come on now.
Yes, I know. Let's keep real. This is where the truth gonna set you free. This is where the truth gonna set you free. This is where it don't feel good, but it's true. Because you know what the reality is? You don't want to. The benefit of losing weight is not worth the work I have to put behind losing the weight. Therefore, I don't do it. It don't feel good to some degree. Now, that don't feel good, but I had to be honest with it, Sister Thompson. I went looking for different ways. I'm looking at stuff, businesses I can start. I had to be honest, because you know what? I saw some stuff I could do. I said, but I ain't willing to do that. That's too much work. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, no, but if I did the work, I'm going to have a lot of problems. I ain't gonna have no time. People won't be fussing. People won't be mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning new skills. But in 5 years, I'll be a millionaire. But guess what? I ain't willing to do that. And we don't like to admit what we won't do. But that's okay. Watch this. If you use what God put in you, your creative force, your gift, will come to the surface in such a way that whatever is needed for you to get to where you're going ain't got to exist. Watch this. 2 paths diverged in the wood. I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Don't worry about seeing the path, make one.
All right, amen.
You say, well, how can I do that? You are forgetting what's in you.
Come on now.
You are not average. See, people will perceive you as looking down on them when you understand who you are, what you are, watch this, and what the Most High can do through you. You walk different. You talk different. You act different. You ain't got to disrespect nobody, but here's the thing. I feel like I'm humble, but here's what people don't like about certain things and display. I don't know what yours is, but when you know who you are, people don't like that. They make them uncomfortable because it shows what other people ain't got. And everybody can't stand that level of confidence because it makes them feel inferior. But what they don't know, that a person that's got that confidence through the image of the Most High, they ain't looking at themselves in the mirror. No, Taylor ain't looking at himself in the mirror. I look alright in the mirror, but that ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what's in here.
All right.
Because what looks better than you in the mirror is the Most High that's in you. And when you got the Most High in you and you're bringing that out, now you start to settle in on the truth. Be honest with yourself about what you can do, what you can't do, what